Hello and welcome. This is Mrs. Wilkerson, and I want to welcome all learners and teachers. I want to share my active reading strategy called QVCS. This is an active reading strategy that's very easy for students to remember. It gives them an active reading strategy of just what they're to do when they stop and think about the text. I'm going to begin, though, with some things that we've learned from Stephanie Harvey and Ann Goodvis from the Comprehension Toolkit. When readers monitor their comprehension, they keep track of their thinking while they're reading. So it's very important for them to be able to follow their inner conversation. Readers are to listen to the voice in their head as it speaks to them as they read. They need to notice when the text makes sense or when it doesn't. We teach readers to fix up their comprehension by using a variety of strategies, including stopping to refocus on thinking, rereading, reading on, asking questions, so much more. Monitoring comprehension is all about engagement, and that's why I've called QVCS an active reading strategy. When readers monitor their thinking, they have an inner conversation with the text, students. You merge your thinking with the information that you're reading. Sometimes reading goes smoothly, and sometimes it doesn't. But overall, it is a transaction between what the text is saying, that is, what the author is saying to you, and what you think about what the author is saying to you. So it's this transaction of thought that's happening from author to you about the text that you're reading. Readers stay on track then when they're able to question the text, question the author, make connections to the text, make inferences and sort and sift through the ideas that are presented. Readers need to be able to notice new information, and they need to notice content that they are being taught. And engaged readers, students, often will show a range of emotions, responding to the text with delight, wonder, sadness, and sometimes even outrage. So, before we can start discussing an active reading strategy, students, it's very important that you can hear your own thoughts when reading. Now, that's going to take you, first of all, sitting down with a great piece of text that you really love and actually paying attention to that inner conversation. Oh yes, your brain talks. Your brain talks all the time. As a matter of fact, I know that each and every one of you have probably been at a movie theater with someone in the audience talking the movie like, oh no, don't go in there, don't go in there. Guess what? That's your inner conversation. Except some of us, sometimes we go to the movies, we say it out loud. We can't have that inner conversation. But anyway, when you write out your inner conversation in your books, on your passages, reading is thinking and writing is inking your thinking. So that's what I want to talk about today, inking your thinking. So follow your inner conversation. And here are just some little stems that can get you started. Things like, this makes me think of, that's a connection. I'm wondering, that's a question. This reminds me of, that's a connection. I didn't know that, that's a comment. I learned, that's a comment. I'm thinking, that's a comment, that's an inference. So good readers do all sorts of things when they read. They infer, they look for clues to draw conclusions, make predictions, and more. So they are always inferring. And you can always say, I think, or probably, or maybe. Good readers sniff out the important details. They can determine importance. Good readers can visualize. Notice that visualizes to the heart. So good readers love to make brain movies while reading. Good readers use their schema or their background knowledge, what they already know. So good readers are hungry to connect their text to things they already know. Good readers notice text structure. Good readers firmly understand the elements of a story and use it to help them understand. Good readers realize if they're reading expository text that they're noticing causes and effects. They're noticing those text features. Good readers firmly understand those things. Good readers use their head. That is, they think, they monitor their own thinking while they're reading. They notice when they understand, and they notice when they need to stop and clarify their understanding. Questions go to the mouth because everybody likes to ask questions. Good readers ask questions before, during, and after reading, because you know what? Thinking starts even before the reading begins. And that starts by asking questions and setting your own purpose for reading. The hands stand for synthesize. Good readers put it all together to be able to retell and summarize and come up with some new learning. So good readers are able to put all of it together. Good readers don't waste time. They choose a purpose for the reading and they pick the best strategy for them. And this is so important for the QVCS because we just give you all of these great things that good readers do, students, and we want you to pick the strategy that works best for you at the time of that reading. So you don't have to just write a page full of inferences, a page full of questions, a page full of pictures. You can do whatever your brain is saying or seeing at that time in the text. It's very important because the most important thing is your thinking. Okay? Good readers monitor comprehension. Good readers know they need to understand what they are reading, and they need to know what to do when they don't. So we don't just keep reading when we don't understand most of the time. Sometimes we can read on just a bit to see if we can clear up any confusions, but if it is not cleared up, good readers know when to stop and refocus. Good readers know when they need to maybe adjust their reading rate. Good readers know that, you know what, I am not processing this text correctly. I need to stop and go back and see if I can reread it to see if I can use a strategy now. Maybe I need to draw this out because this language is very confusing. Or maybe I need to ask a question here just so I can kind of ink my thinking right here, and I'm going to read on to see if the text answers my question. That is all a part of monitoring your comprehension, students. All right, so let's talk about the Q in QVCS. The Q stands for questions because good readers are able to ask and answer your own questions while you read. And here are just a few of 1,000 question stems that you can start with. Why did, when, who, how could, where, what would happen if, what if. So you have 1,000 ways that you can ask questions. But asking questions is a great way to monitor your comprehension and let you know that, you know what, I'm actively thinking because my brain is going crazy with questions. And so I'm going to ink my thinking down. I'm going to write my questions down. As I find answers to those questions, I'm going to go back and answer them. The V in QVCS stands for visualize. And I have a little song called Visualize, Visualize. See it with your mind and not your eyes. Visualize. Let's do it again. Visualize, Visualize. See it with your mind and not your eyes. Visualize. That is, visualize to create mental pictures in your head while you read. And these will change as you read. So I want you to read, visualize, and then draw it out. Yes, students, you are allowed to draw pictures on your passages or on post-it notes so that you can see and that your teachers can see that you are actively reading and you are actively able to visualize. Because when you can visualize, you can make some inferences. Okay. The C stands for comments, connections, and content. So connections are when you are able to read a text and you're able to connect it to your life in some kind of way. Either a text that you have read before, or a world connection, or connection to yourself. So always be asking yourself, what connections do I have? What does this remind me of? Now your comments are or can be anything. They can be how you feel about what you're reading. They can be what you're learning about what you're reading, what you realize about what you are reading, and they can be your inferences. When you make comments, you can write what you think. I think such and such is going to happen. That's a prediction. Or you can write your inferences. Comments are a great place for you to write your predictions, your inferences, and your conclusions. And then, of course, your content piece. I want you to really focus on noticing your academic content when you read. You can make notes about what you notice about plot development or elements of plot, such as the importance of setting, characterization, when you find a conflict, when you notice a turning point in a fictional text, when everything changes, as well as the resolution or how the problem is solved, because you know you're going to be asked questions over those types of things. Also, you can make notes about what you notice about text features. When you see pictures or captions, you can make a quick note about those. Text structures. The author here is using cause and effect because he's given me the effects of global warming. You can make notes when you notice a flashback or foreshadowing or main ideas, details, all of the content that you spend 189 days in school learning. Think about content questions you might be asked after the reading. Think about those things during your reading. And finally, the S stands for summarize and synthesize. Keep it simple and keep it in your own words. To summarize something means to tell in your own words what's happened in a story or in a text. All right, so you need to write a brief statement in your own words about what you're reading. And ask yourself, what's most important? And when you can put it in your own words in a brief way, you know you understand what you're reading. And there's a great difference between summarizing and synthesizing. Summarizing is a basic reading technique, and synthesizing is an advanced reading technique. Basically, you're putting it all together, and you are coming up with something new. You're able to merge your thinking with the text. Summarizing pulls together information in order to highlight important points, and synthesizing not only pulls together those important points, but also you're able to draw your own conclusions. Summarizing reiterates the information, and synthesizing combines and contrasts information from different sources. Summarizing shows what the original authors wrote in your own words, but synthesizing not only reflects on what the authors wrote, but also creates something new out of two or more pieces of writing. You'll get some practice at that if you're in third grade when you do your research project. Summarizing addresses one set of information, and synthesizing combines parts and elements from a variety of sources. Summarizing presents a cursory overview of what a text was about, while synthesizing focuses on both main ideas and details. And summarizing demonstrates an understanding of the overall meaning, because you should be able to summarize anything that you've read, anything somebody has said. You should be able to give someone a summary of a movie, of a speech you heard. Summarizing just demonstrates, hey, I understood what you meant. And synthesizing achieves insight. Well, I hope you have enjoyed your lesson over QVCS today. Remember, we don't have to guess, just QVCS. Until next time, goodbye.